you've never seen a spider monkey use these bridges, right?
I'll tell you, if I see a spider monkey using our canopy bridges, I'll die. Because it's going to be
fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Welcome to the Future for Nature podcast. Every year, 3 exceptional young conservationists, all under the age of 35, coming from some of the most wild and remote places on Earth, are selected out of hundreds of applicants to receive the Future for Nature award, which comes with a €50,000 prize to go towards protecting and conserving the natural world. Over time, as they've grown in number into a Future for Nature family, these young conservationists have drawn on the many lessons learned from their vastly different backgrounds, countries, cultures, and the species they protect, to offer support and learn from one another. In this podcast, you'll hear them discuss some of the issues closest to their hearts and share in-depth knowledge from the field. Today we'll be hearing from Fernanda, Els and José about the impact of roads, in particular roadkill, on wild species, and the solutions they're coming up with to prevent this, as well as the role of local communities.
Okay, so maybe we can start by introducing ourselves. Maybe Els can start.
I'm Els van Lavieren, and I am the Wildlife Crime and Science Director at WPS, which is Wildlife and People Suriname. I work in Suriname.
Excellent. Fernanda?
I'm Fernanda Abra from Brazil. I'm a road ecologist, and I work understanding the impacts of roads and traffic, and also designing solutions in form of mitigation measures for roads and railways.
Excellent. And I'm José González. I'm from Colombia and Costa Rica, but currently live in Mexico. And I'm a conservation biologist, mostly working in the interaction between ecology and policymaking for conservation science and practice. So guys, maybe we can start with one of the cards and check one of these questions. So, what are the primary species affected by roadkill in your area, and why are they particularly important animals? So you're the one that can start.
Well, in Brazil, it depends of the region, because I have projects in many different areas in Brazil, different biomes. And for vertebrates, I can say that one of the species that are endangered are tapirs. Tapirs. So we have a high index of road mortality of tapirs.
Lowland tapirs, right?
Lowland tapirs at Tapirus terrestris, but also the carnivores. So it's very shocking to see how many maned wolves, pumas, ocelots, otters, for example, and giant anteaters. So many endangered species are found roadkill now in Brazil. And also, I'm collecting also a very good data on railways, so train collisions affecting these species. But especially in the Amazon biome, where I have 2 study areas with the Reconecta project, the primates really surprised me, because the impacts of roads on arboreal species, tree-dwelling species, we can think about 2 different impacts: the road mortality, and then I have data of marmosets and howler monkeys, TT monkeys being road-killed.
Even spider monkeys.
Monkeys, some records. But the most important impact for this fauna group is the barrier effect.
Right.
So what we have now in Brazil is with a certain level of fragmentation, species that are more sensitive to this fragmentation, they do not cross the road anymore. And this is such a big problem for conservation and for the viability of the population.
Yeah, it is like a silent threat that it's operating. Yeah.
Correct.
Like
So
just splitting populations.
Very tricky, because the road mortality, you can measure, you count the size of the impact. The barrier effect is very difficult to measure.
Yeah, it's invisible.
Yeah, so we need to develop different methods in science to understand better the impacts of the barrier effect.
Right. What about Suriname?
Well, just continuing with the primates, we've done 3 months of data collection now, and we're seeing quite a lot of primates, especially 3 species, the smaller ones, but it's still surprising how many per survey we see, especially recently. But the highest group is the reptiles, and we've just been collecting data in the dry season. So we're going to see a huge increase even in the reptiles, and snakes mainly, and frogs in the wet season when it starts raining this month or at the end of this month. I hope for Suriname it starts raining soon. But it is the road mortality is high in Suriname, much higher than we expected, much higher. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And comparing our study areas, because our at least the mammal community from my study area, my first study area in the Amazon, is almost the same that in Suriname. And the road mortality index in Suriname is much higher than I have in Brazil. So, like, Suriname is the greenest country of the world. They only have 3 main roads, but it causes a lot of
really big threat. Yeah, I was actually thinking, because always we talk about the large stuff, right? But you were saying reptiles, and we just finished a couple surveys in mountain areas in Colombia, one in Costa Rica, and most of the things are small things, right? Like little birds and frogs and reptiles. And if you think about the magnitude of the problem, if you think on a primate that can move, I don't know, like hundreds of meters, or a carnivore that can move even kilometers, the road is a big deal. Yeah. But if you think on a frog that has like a hectare home range, the road is pretty much its entire home, right? Yeah. So it's a huge thing. So pretty much what we found in mountain areas is that you get, of course, some marsupials and some carnivores, but mostly the small things are critical. And even it's harder to detect them and survey them. And you were telling us in the Amazon, right? Like you have to walk to actually see these guys.
Correct.
So it's crazy. I think the impact is huge. In these small groups, it's probably higher than even the large ones.
Yeah, because we don't have any tapirs yet. I don't expect, hopefully, but you never know. You never know. I was going to say, when we're doing the walking surveys, right? It's the 8 kilometers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we detect a lot of the toads and frogs, it's like bats. It's huge.
It's only possible to detect the small stuff when we change the method to record road mortality. Exactly. So driving the vehicle, even 60 kilometers per hour, we only register.
Yeah, record.
We only register or record. Yeah. We only record animals above 1 kilogram on average.
Right.
So when we walk, the
numbers just go. They just exponentially grow. That's absolutely correct. So I'm gonna take another card. Let's keep going. What are the anti-roadkill solutions that you implement, and why, and for which species are they effective?
Mm-hmm. So in Brazil, I have different road and railway projects. So we are working now in 12 different states in Brazil. So most of the mitigation measures are underpasses in combination with fences. So together, this mitigation system can reduce up to 80% of the road mortality for medium and large sized mammals. So we are experiencing a wonderful reduction in road mortality, especially on roads under concession, like the toll road companies that we have in São Paulo state. But also now because we have the Reconnecta project, we are implementing a solution for fragmentation and road mortality specifically for tree-dwelling species. So it's amazing to see the results, because when I see the videos of the animals like primates and porcupines and etc. crossing our canopy bridges, so we have 2 main results. So first, they crossed the road, so we are maintaining or improving connectivity. When I see the animals crossing using the canopy bridges, they are not crossing on the ground. So we're avoiding the road mortality, right? So this is wonderful. And one of the species that called my attention in the Amazon was the kinkajou using our canopy bridges. So kinkajou, for people that doesn't know, it's an arboreal carnivore that we have, Postus flavus. And I never saw this species road killed. I never saw this species trying to cross the road on the ground. So for this type of species, for this specific species, they will only cross if we provide them a canopy, a connectivity in the canopy level. So we are improving connectivity this way.
And it's super interesting because actually kinkajous use highways in their canopy. So they don't move randomly like most carnivores. So they just pick like the same road. So that means that they probably will keep using it and using it and using it. And that's increasing connectivity and all the genetic benefits of connectivity for these populations.
Yeah. And
No, it's funny. I have seen one kinkajou road killed in Suriname, which I never forget because it was really, it looked like the animal from Ice Age with the little nuts in his hand that were like his plateau. It was really sad, but that's why I really remember it because but I think it's very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare, yeah.
Like spider monkeys.
Yeah.
They can be roadkill, but you're going to find is not common.
So, and can I ask? I was wondering what kind of species do you see on your railway killing? Like what roadkill? It's not roadkill. It's train kill. I don't know how do you call it. Rail kills.
Rail kills.
Yeah, train collisions. Yeah. But the top three is the hairy armadillo,
Right.
and then we have wild pigs that are endangered in Brazil. Because of the grains, the peccaries, and third is lowland tapir.
I get that.
So it's terrible. So most of all the vertebrates, the terrestrial, most of the terrestrial mammals we collect on roads, we also collect on railways.
Similar. Yeah?
But most of them are attracted because of the grains and the waste that the train
that falls from the train.
Right. Yeah.
What about the small things? I mean, what would you say is something? I don't know if you're trying or not these kind of other solutions, but what would you suggest for small species? I mean, birds is a big deal, not because it's a barrier. Not only the roadkill as we were talking, but what about frogs, lizards, etc.? Because the fences will not work. The underpasses are. I mean, these animals are not as smart as mammals to go through them. So what would you say could work in these cases?
Yeah, this is a very difficult question because for medium and large-sized mammals, we know what to do and we have good results. But for the small guys, it's really difficult. But like, for example, for lizards, snakes, and frogs, there are special fences like plastic that they put together with like normal fences so they cannot climb and etc. But this is the barrier. So one thing is the fence. The function of the role of the fence is to barrier the entrance of the animal where we do not want, right? Yeah. It's a deterrent. Yeah. But to improve connectivity, we need the safe crossing opportunities, right? Yeah. So we can design underpasses for snakes, frogs, lizards, and etc. But how many do we need to cover their their habitat?
Yeah, especially because with mammals you can put one and you can say like, okay, I can fence a very long area and then they will come like but not for these small guys. No. They will try to cross exactly where they are. That's
and it can be even worse for birds, bats. It's very complicated. But I used to say that science always solved the problems of our society. And I really believe science can help us in the next few years to also mitigate this kind of problems for the
that's
small
interesting.
guys.
Do you think eventually can we, because what we're having at the end is this barrier effect in which there's no connectivity between the two populations, and then we're having problem endogamy and all those problems. Do you think eventually translocating individuals will be needed?
But this is a different topic, and I would like to fit this topic in the mitigation hierarchy that we have. So the first one is avoidance. So before to build a road, let's see if it's really important and what's the best route, right? So first is avoidance. Second is the mitigation, what we do. So we try to mitigate the impacts of roads and traffic. We're using underpasses, canopy bridges, fences, and etc. The third one is the compensation. So for spider monkeys, for example, else, if we really see that the populations, they are completely isolated, the road is a completely barrier for them.
You need to connect.
We can't mitigate, you see? And then we need to compensate. So should we include more individuals here or there or manage the population in another way?
Why couldn't you mitigate though with a canopy bridge? Well, I don't.
They wouldn't use because they don't come closer to the road anymore.
Oh,
They're
that's what you mean. Right. Okay, so if they really do not connect.
And because there's a barrier not only because of the roadkill itself, but the sound,
edge effects and everything,
noise,
disturbance.
So pretty much if we talk about moving individuals from one side to the other is a mitigation measure, right? Mitigation not of roadkills, but mitigation of the connectivity problem, isolation problem.
In a way it is. I wonder though, you've never seen a spider monkey use these bridges, right? No.
Not in Brazil, but we have new information of spider monkeys using canopy bridges in Peru.
Okay.
And in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica,
Wonderful. Yeah, so there's hope.
There is. And these are not bridges that start far from the road. They're actually the same model as you are.
Like the places that I saw in Suriname, the road going to Albina, not to
Achoni.
Achoni.
Yeah, and there's still spider monkeys there from Braunschweig to Fredberg. So
I'll tell you, if I see a spider monkey using our canopy bridges, I'll die. Because it's going to be
fantastic.
Really.
Okay, I'm gonna take another card, guys. What role does local community involvement play in your conservation projects? So this is brother. I'm gonna start with Els this time.
Sorry, can I hear that?
Wildlife and people. Sorry.
Yeah. So in a way, if we keep this question to the roadkill topic, I think once, especially looking at the situation in Suriname, if we want to build canopy bridges or place them or build any kind of mitigation measure, I think it will be very important to involve the communities that are close to these measures, like especially canopy bridges, to make them part of like surveillance or keeping an eye on the bridges, because as Suriname is quite a big poaching country, a hunting country as well. Like a lot of people like sports hunting, etc. And I think that way, if you involve them, it also becomes more. It's so nice to understand what these bridges are doing. So and they can also be part of the solution of keeping an eye on the equipment and everything. But also, I think I don't think in Suriname people, the communities see roads or what's the word, perceive them as a big problem. I don't think anybody in Suriname sees road, because we only have 3 roads, paved roads. We have more roads, but not paved. I think this research is going to be extremely shocking for everybody, the outcome, because we don't perceive it as a problem. And I think community members don't even, if you'd say, we're going to build a canopy bridge to reconnect the forest, they might even say, well, that's unnecessary because there's so much forest, right? Or so I think there's a lot to do in awareness. And I think what I said, involvement of communities in these mitigation measures, for many reasons, but also just for safety of and to get good results.
Right. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Well, in my case, I think the community are the heart and the lungs and everything in this project, because, like, for example, the study area we have in the Amazon BR-174, that is a federal highway. I work directly with an indigenous community called Waimiria Truari, and I only choose to work there because I knew about everything they were doing to protect their wildlife from the impacts of roads and traffic. So by themselves, they created natural connectivity over the road. So they started to monitor road mortality since 1997. So by themselves, they already recorded more than 16,000 of individuals road killed in a section of a little bit more than 100 kilometers. Plus, the best thing ever for me was they have the right to restrict the traffic from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that's the best mitigation measure ever.
Of course.
So this is citizen science. This is leadership from so they are leading a conservation project, and sometimes they don't know about what they're
They don't
doing.
even
How
call
amazing
that
it is
way,
what they're
right?
doing,
They're just
yeah.
protecting the land.
So when
Fantastic.
they heard that there was a girl from São Paulo that could build canopy bridges for them, they embraced the project. So it was a very powerful combination. So I
Alliance.
wanted to test my canopy bridges, and they wanted this as a solution for a real problem they have in their community, right? So it was gold for me. It was the, how do you say, the cherry?
Cherry on the,
Cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
To see the engagement of the community.
Right.
And many times that we were building together our canopy bridge, literally, I had to put my sunglasses because I was crying to see that literally conservation is only possible when we work together.
Yes.
You see?
Right.
So one thing would be, Fernanda that does her postdoc with Smithsonian, went there in some highway in the Amazon, she stole the canopy bridges, she's monitoring, etc. Another thing is like together with an indigenous community, they worked to establish a very strong project, because today I know it's we have our canopy bridges there installed for more than 2 years right now. And I know that they really like the canopy bridges. They protect the canopy bridges. They're watching all the time everything that is going on. Sometimes they call me, eri, mulher, like a woman in Guaimiri, their language. They say, we saw the monkey crossing the canopy bridge. So they're very aware about this. So this is
And
part of
appropriate,
their community. Right?
That's really interesting, but because we have, especially in this topic, I mean, if we think about general conservation is a social science, so it's pretty much a local community process. But in this specific topic of roadkills, we have such a broad variation from a community that completely empowered around the topic and was doing something by themselves to an entire country that doesn't even know this is a
exactly.
problem. You know, so we have a huge variation, and I think science is critical here first to document and actually say how critical this is. We have a project in which we started doing the surveys for the environmental authority nearby Bogota in Colombia. They didn't know it was a thing, you know, like we started doing it and they were like, why are you spending money? Do other stuff. And like, no, let us do it. When we finished, they were like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. You know, like, so we have this huge variation in which science needs to play a critical role at documenting it. And then how we empower people around that.
And it's very difficult to do it. So for me, the main challenge about this project was to reconcile the science part, because
multiple views,
the Western science that we have with indigenous traditional knowledge.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
it was a perfect wedding. I used to say, but you need to be open. I think from both sides.
Yeah.
To learn, to be part of the process, to be very democratic.
But you have to be super responsible, super transparent, because if you somehow betray the trust they're giving you, it's gone, right? I mean, and that could be even, I mean, obviously in your case, this is a community that is protecting their land. But in some other cases, if you do something wrong or you're not transparent, the kickback can be even worse, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so it's super delicate. So I'm going to do the last question. In one word or sentence, what would you say motivates you every day to fight for a future for nature? Who wants to start?
One word, wow.
Or sentence.
It's what we call what Suriname is, right? It's the greenest country on earth, and I can give a little bit of an explanation. Is that it motivates me much more to wake up and fight for incredible richness that's still there than to wake up and fight for something that we need to fix because we broke it already. And Suriname is all about preservation of what's a lot of still there. So the greenest country on earth. That motivates me to fight.
That's really good.
I think for me, it can be a cliche, but it's wildlife, because I love animals and I'm passionate about nature in general. But I love to see wildlife. So we're now in Kenya, and there are like elephants and zebras behind us. And I love go to nature outdoors and see animals alive. So the work that I do is emotionally heavy, taxing, right?
Yeah.
And what I do is to prevent them to die, right?
Right.
Because I want to see them alive and gracious as they are.
As they meant to.
Yeah, as they meant to be. Yes. So I think this is what motivates.
For me, it's why the name of the organization and the award is so perfect, which is Future for Nature, because for me is that we can still believe in future. Like there's future for nature, and that means a lot, because I totally believe in I would like to see like animals in the wild. Now I have a kid. I want my kid to see animals in the wild.
Exactly.
So it makes a huge difference that you can think there's still a chance, right? And that's pretty much what moves me every day, because otherwise just like enjoy the couple of years you still have, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many things to still work for that we just need to do it. That's pretty much.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
You go. No.
No.
All together.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. And what about you, Jose?
Thank you so much. It was great. It's always nice to talk to you guys, of course.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to speak about these topics. And,
Yeah,
and
we can go on and on and
Oh
on,
my
right?
God, yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you
God.
that is listening, and thank you guys. I love you so much, and it's so natural when we talk about any topic. So thank you very much.